loop or an infinite top loop is unnecessary because the double top monastery, in fact, this should probably have a second top since we're borrowing tops. And then this is the conundrum I have. If I'm going to put Monastery Mentors and Sensei's Top in the same deck, why am I not just playing Miracles? Scrap the whole thing, open a new copy. This is where I think we're going to go in the future. So what's the combo deck of choice that's being played that doesn't really care so much about Power Blast? They care a little bit about Pyroblast, but what if we just scrap this whole thing? What was the infinite loop? It was like a creature-based loop with top. One of them was Ethersworn, Artificers, not Canonist, it's the other Ethersworn. I don't even have any of. It was, no, it's not Ethersworn, it's Vedalken, Artificer, Vedalken something. Not Chief Engineer. It's the one that makes artifacts cost less. There you go. Ethereum Sculptor, excuse me, not Vedalken. That's his creature type. So it was Ethereum Sculptor plus Top plus Mentor, which is like a 3-card combo. No, 4-card combo. He was trying to assemble Sculptor, a Singleton Sculptor, a Singleton Mentor, and 2 Sensei's Tops. The combo's already good enough. And I hate to say that. I think it was creative, but it wasn't good. It's hard to be both creative and good, and that's what I try to aim for. Doesn't mean I achieve that. We got Dismembers random. I think that's too many mages. So we could go 2 angles with this. We could try to do kind of what Patrick was doing. Not that I want to copy Patrick Chapin. I would actually kind of like to embellish on the archetype. I've always wanted to build Mentor. It's something that I have a lot of the pieces for in paper. I don't know if I want main deck Fluster or random Spell Pierce or that much Therapy. Or even main deck him. Okay. Yeah, and then the other one was an infinite life gain, which was the Leonin. The problem with the Leonin is it needed also... The funny thing about the Leonin one is all that Leonin was a replacement to the Mentor in the combo, which is fine, but you still need the Ethereum Sculptor. It's good free will. I'm sorry, Mr. Comment. Hey, how's it going? How's it going? Everbrew is Salvage Titan. Somebody already did Hatch. I can give you a link. Gregory Hatch. And Alter the Brood combo. I'd love to mess with this deck, it's just there's several cards that are super expensive. Check that out if you want to see something crazy to do with Salvage Titan. Salvage Titan, Alter the Brood, Helm of Awakening, Lion's Eye Diamond, Tops. That was a brew. Alright. You want me to play Monastery and Bomberman? I'd love to play Legacy Bomberman. We tried to build a non-traditional build. I bet if I built a Trinket Mage build, it would actually work. That would be cool. I'd love to build Legacy Bomberman. It's a really difficult loop. I know you guys thought that it was impossible for me to play something like a 4-color Ascendancy in time, and I do it all the time since we practiced it. So I think that I could also be the type of person to learn Bomberman and play it on time. A lot of people said I couldn't do this one. You haters out there, there's very few. Most of you guys are very positive. We have a very positive community here. There's always going to be that one guy that's like, don't you go to the time spawn? I'm like, I did when I first built the deck. Not anymore. So, in a sense, this has the same issue as Miracles or Bomberman. It's a very slow, grindy... Instead of slow, grindy control, it's slow, grindy combo. So I think that Bomberman would be in the same vein. It's going to have a lot of game actions, a lot of Lion's Eye Diamonding and activating the creature. I can't remember his name. It's like Auric Salvager, right? Do I ever brew for Pauper? Sporks. I've messed around with Pauper. I don't like touching it very much. I don't think it's a very good format. I hate to say that. Hope I don't lose a bunch of you guys over saying that, but I tried to play it. I gave it an honest try. Here's, for example, I need to pick up some Shrivels, because apparently that's the sweeper of choice in Pauper. It's hard to play Pauper when you've played other formats. It's the same thing. Like, it's hard to enjoy Modern as I used to when I got into Legacy years ago. Vintage is the exception, though. It's funny. I actually still like going back to Legacy, but Vintage is fun every once in a while. But it's hard to go back to Modern, especially Standard or Pauper, when you've gotten to play with such cool cards, a bigger card pool. It's like I get to play in a bigger sandbox. Like, would you really like? Okay, let me. I want a visual for this. All right, so if Magic is a sandbox, right? Give me like Google, I don't know, Maps or Google World. Just give me Google Maps. So I'm gonna give you a little demonstration. So we're gonna go to Google Maps. Okay. So I'm gonna show you my interpretation of. Not that I want to show you. I don't know why it's showing you where. Anyway, we're gonna scroll out. Yes, you all know I'm United States. That's fine. Okay, so we're gonna just arbitrarily zoom in. You're concerned that Ascendancy Combat has 3 card issues. Rufus, it's Modern though. There's nothing to really punish you outside of Thoughtseized, and that's why you played the playset of Leyline of Sanctity. So, okay, so this is the equivalent. I'll zoom out a little bit, but this is like standard, right? This little river and this couple of streets and a highway. Okay, this is standard to me. We're gonna scroll a little more. Scroll a little more. Maybe we get a whole like state or county. Okay, so the state of Nebraska. Maybe this is Modern. No, Modern's a little more. Maybe Modern is like the U.S., right? That's being pretty liberal. I'm saying that like there's 50 states. Somebody said, oh, that's a great comparison. Somebody once said that there's about 50 viable decks in Modern. There's 50 states in the United States. So we'll say Modern is like the U.S. Now we're gonna go a little bigger. Let's say Pauper is like a whole set of continents. Let's say it's both the Americas. You know, that includes Canada, of course. Greenland, we'll throw Greenland in. So maybe this is Pauper, right? I'm sure there are plenty of decks. It's a pretty big card pool, even though it's all common. We're gonna go a little bigger now. I can't zoom in anymore, but I would say that Legacy is pretty much it's pretty open. A lot of people, you know, on the Pro Tours, they like to be critical and say, oh, well, if your deck's not blue, then, you know, et cetera, yada, yada. I don't believe in that. I think that the format is really, really open, to the point where there's so many decks that just aren't explored or haven't been explored because people are too afraid to brew. They get too comfortable. Which is fine. It's hard to buy into every deck and hard to be a brewer, but I'm up to the challenge. And then Vintage is maybe a little smaller. Admittedly. Well, Vintage is pretty open too. It's hard to say whether we should use this metaphor to say Vintage is the whole world or Legacy is. But it's pretty open. It's that open. Legacy is all the continents and Pauper is all the continents but only their deserts. You liked Pauper when Storm was legal. Okay. Sorry I spent so much time on that metaphor, guys. Remember the time that I built like a metaphor that was referencing Zelda? That was fun. I still have it somewhere. We do all sorts of little weird references on this stream. Hang on, I saved it in the Google Drive. To the Google Drive! You guys remember this? Not to reminisce. I know some of you guys will. By the way, great music coming up, guys. Do not go away. Great music coming up. Vintage includes Antarctica. You think it's even more open than Legacy? I don't know if I agree. Maybe. Maybe it is more open. Alright. The problem is when you widen the sandbox or widen the scope of a format, you also run into the problem of, yes, there are more decks you could brew, but at the same time, this is me comparing Legacy to Modern. I even saved the chat component. But this is our little metaphor about how Legacy is kind of like the Triforce, Zelda. Familiar Storm is still the best in the format. Its only bad matchup is the clock. You think Vintage is less Sunburb? But I was saying that Legacy really has the trifecta. You've got fair decks, you got your control decks, you got your combo decks. So Wisdom, Power, Courage. Takes courage to play a fair deck, right? No, that's not true. Did you guys see Craig Wesco wrecking with Death and Taxes? I think Death and Taxes is a fine deck. More people need to play it. Certainly more prevalent in the European Euro circuit. Anyway, this is a little fun metaphor. So sometimes we throw together little fun metaphors, but back to the brew. So we're going to be playing Doomsday tomorrow. Be here, or be square. This is how we were playing it before the Doomsday. It just wasn't good. I was sideboarding into mentors, and sometimes you steal a game. Most of the time I was not stealing the games, and it was unfortunate. A lot of people were leaving in like weird things like Swords to Plowshares, and it was like, why would you leave that in? It's not good in the matchup when you're getting hit with an Evercool, or stormed. But you were testing weird things like Daze and Pact of Negation. Actually, Daze isn't all that weird for Tin Fins, by the way. The Pact was kind of weird. I was just testing it out. Like, anywho, like, why not be creative? The card pool's so big. Steven Schlepperst's, I'm going to bring this one up one more time. This was Steven Schlepperst's Nightfall. So creative. I think this is really cool. Granted, I mean, everybody was talking about Retreat, but he was ballsy enough to do it. He said, I'm doing this. And he built a fair deck with the ability to combo. So a lot of people were trying to compare this sort of strategy of Nightfall to Splinter Twin. But Splinter Twin isn't good enough for Legacy, but this was. And that's what kind of blew my mind. Creature combo. Well, creature enchantment combo. Yeah, this isn't his list, of course. I tweaked it, made it worse in many aspects. But with cards in my card pool. So how do we make this thing work? Or do we just reserve to say, okay, but if you're going to run Tops and Mentors in the same deck, why aren't you just playing Miracles? You know, you can have that attitude about it. Okay. Well, what if I said, you know what? I don't like how in the current metagame, there's a lot more colors being played. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's a blue format, it's a blue format, it's a blue format. Yes, there's still a lot of blue being played, but a lot of things you're scared of aren't necessarily blue cards. Case in point, like Liliana's back in a major way. Is she a blue card? No. Sneak Attack is back in a major way. Is that a blue card? No. But a lot of the Miracles players, or the Miracle community, I'm not trying to judge or generalize here, still reserve that they think red is the best splash. Now, I agree. I think red is a solid splash because it's a deck that runs a lot of basic lands, and red facilitates Blood Moon in the board. But maybe Singleton Counterbalance with an Enlightened Tutor package. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I like me some Enlightened Tutors. I could play that in paper. I actually own Enlightened Tutors in paper. I don't own them on Magic Online. Kind of awkward. So, with the format being more so, here's another example of a matchup where Red Blast and Power Blast are not very good. Storm. The only cards that you could hit with it really that matter are your Brainstorms and your Ponders. Their Brainstorms and their Ponders. So maybe because Dig is gone, because a lot of the reasons that you saw Miracles players main decking Power Blast or main decking Red Elemental Blast was because they were trying to fight the over, you're trying Esper Miracles with Painful Truths Thoughtseize right now. Purple, what if, just bear with me, what if we fused, just hang on a second. I don't even necessarily think it's bad. I think it's going to take a lot of time. By the way, Purple, I saw you playing Robopod the other day. Nice work. That made me smile. I don't know if you remember me hopping in there and chatting you guys up. I also missed your messages, dude. I had to leave. I was away from my computer. What were you trying to tell me? It felt really bad. I tried to message you, but you were offline at that point. So what if we fused like the best interactions with Mentor, like the best interactions with Mentor, are like things like Ataxian Probe, Sensei's Top, and Cabal Therapy, and we just start there. Let's put everything else into a pile. It's not relevant. We're not thinking about it yet. It's probably going to be a Brainstorm deck at least. Maybe some number of Ponders. Whoa, Magic Online, what are you doing? Why are you cutting all my cards? Hang on. And that's the thing, like Red Blast isn't in as good a position as it was. I think Blood Moon is still in a fine position. So if you want to stay Red Miracles because of Blood Moon, I think that's very viable. But I don't believe when people tell me, oh, I'm playing Miracles. I'm like, okay, well, what variant? Oh, well, blue, white, red. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool.